doubt takes hold.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Stories told of ancient truths turned upside down, and gods of men on fragile crowns.
What up, y'all? Welcome back to another live. We got some good stuff for y'all today. We're gonna do some reacts, some debates on TikTok Live, and more. Our brother Without Lies Islam Dies made this song the other day, and it's pretty good. Y'all should give it a listen. But yeah, let's get into it. On to the debates, y'all. Let's get it on. All right.
You got bad signal.
Not to like the extent that it's taken.
I put the kettle on, I make my cuppa, I do my exercises, and I go outside, I have my cuppa, and then I say my prayer.
While we wait, welcome to live, guys. I appreciate y'all for all tuning in. I really appreciate all y'all's support and constantly being here and joining the lives, and I really appreciate it. Hope everyone's day's been good, and we're gonna have a great live. Hold up. Oh, what? Yeah. Huh. All right. Let's try to find a debate real quick. Let's see what we got going on. Let's see. See if we can get a debate going real quick. You would know who my father is from. Let's see. Just trying to find a live. What do you think we should start with? I think we start with trying to get on this live and see what's up. Excuse me. All right, I'm gonna mute the audio for now. Let's see what we got going on. Let's see. See what we got from our boy Libiano. Let's see. Jesus is begotten. That's actually a pretty good one. We might watch that. Arab Christian girl comes back and proves, can't prove I'm not her God. All right. Can't even get mad at that.
Think about
That's
a
good
child
ad.
you love. Now take away their clean clothes, access to water.
I guess we're gonna start off with a little react. Sorry, I'm sharing my screen real quick. We'll start off with a little react while we wait to get up on here. By the Orthodox Muslim.
How's it going, man?
What up? How you doing?
Good, good, good. Are you a Christian?
Yeah, there's a little echo.
1 second.
My bad.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So, how do you know that I'm not your God, man?
Actually, I wanted to talk about the Numbers verse.
What Numbers verse?
The one that you just quoted.
Which one?
Numbers 23. You half quoted it.
Numbers 23?
Okay, so just to start. If a Muslim's asking you to prove he's your God, obviously you can do the thing of technically the burden of proof's on you. So that'd be shifting the burden of proof would be fallacious, but you don't even have to play that game. honestly, you could just play that game. Really, not, just play the game of like, what's your justification that you are my God, right? Where are the attributes that, where do you possess the attributes? For example, how many fingers am I holding up? What key is my finger touching on my keyboard, right? Those types of things where you can ask them to justify it because they have to, since they are the claimant, and they can't because they don't possess these attributes. You could also go with the argument of, like God, Jesus, as I've talked about before on this channel, that Jesus came down. Jesus' incarnation was a very specific thing, right? He came down for a specific reason, and on the second coming specifically, he'll come down on the clouds, and there's the millennial reign, etc., right? So, and that's the second coming. That doesn't mean there's a bunch of little comings before that where he comes back down incarnates. The second time he comes down incarnates, right? So this guy, did that happen to him? Did he come down on the clouds? Did the millennial reign start happening right now? No. Did the dead raise? Did like the Christians and believers raise from the dead? No. I mean, that it's ultimately like both ways you can take about it or go about it. But ultimately, I think the easiest one really is just arguing like justify that claim. Should prove that you're, for example, omniscient. That's just the easiest way to go about it because they can't. Or you could just play the game of it's the fallacy.
3.
Yeah, you did. God is not a man.
Oh, yeah, that one. Okay. I thought you were talking about the side stuff. Yeah, what about that?
You want to read the whole verse or no?
Yeah, read it. That he should lie, and I'm gonna bake you on that. So go ahead, man. You know, I've heard.
God is not a man, and he should lie.
I know you guys like the back of my hand. Like he should lie, because God doesn't lie. That's why that he said he's not a man. But because Jesus did not sin, then he could be a man God. Is that the argument?
No. What was the Deuteronomy one that you quoted?
No. Let's deal with.
Was it Deuteronomy?
No. Let's deal with numbers.
No, I know. I have it right here, but I want to bring up the other one too. I want to pull it up in front of me.
What about Deuteronomy?
You said there was 2 places it said God is not a man. I'm just trying to find the other one.
Hosea, sir, not Deuteronomy.
Hosea.
I will not.
So is this guy? I can't take these apologists seriously. He's really arguing that what is it? Numbers 23. That when it says God is not a man that he should lie, that it literally means God is not a man. God is not a man that he should lie, or a son of man that he should change his mind. Has he said and will he not do? Or has he spoken and he will not fulfill it? This is not saying that God cannot incarnate or the hypostatic union. You could even argue that, sure, at that time period, 4,000 plus years before Christ, it was true. God hasn't incarnated as a hypostatic union into man. Christ didn't incarnate yet, right? You could even argue that. But the verse is saying just like how man lies and changes his mind, Christ is not like that. He is not a man in the sense that he lies in the sense that he should change his mind. And it's specific because it says that he should lie, or a son of man that he should change his mind. And then it goes into, has he said and he will not do it? Or has he spoken and will he not fulfill it? It specifies that that's what it's referring to specifically. It's very clear. So to argue that this is saying that God is not a man, period, is so dumb. It's a horrible argument.
9:6. I will not execute my anger on Ephraim, for I am God and not a man.
Hosea 9:6. I got like 5 minutes. I'm trying to do this quick.
All right, man. Let's get to it. So do you want to talk about Numbers 23 and see who's butchering the context, me or you?
Hosea 9:6. I don't see it right here in Hosea 9:6.
All right, let's go to Hosea 9:6. Hosea 9:6 for. So he misquoted. Okay.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Where does it say that God? For behold, they are going away from destruction, but Egypt shall gather them, Memphis shall burn them, nettles shall possess their precious things of silver, thorns shall be in their tents. Where does it say that? Say what he's saying.
What do you mean you don't see it?
What's up, Telugu? Hey, Buggy, my country, India, is in war, so it's hard for me to come to stream. Even my life is in danger. I will come after war. Tensions decrease me. I appreciate it, brother. I'll keep you in my prayers, Telugu. Stay safe, brother.
Not a man. It's not. I don't see it in Hosea 9:6. Anyway, it's fine.
Wait. Maybe it was 6:9. Wait, am I tripping? Wait. I'm forgetting, guys. 1 second.
No, as robbers lie in wait for men, so the priests band together. They murder on the way to Shechem.
He's looking it up. Cheater.
Hosea 11. Sorry, 11:9.
Okay, let's go to Hosea. All right, let's pull up Hosea 11:9. Oh. This one you rarely ever hear a Muslim bring up, at least in my experience. I will not execute my burning anger. I will not again destroy Ephraim, for I am God and not a man, the Holy One in your midst, and I will not come in wrath. You could. There's a couple ways you can go about this. What is he saying? He's saying he's not going to do these things, for he is not a man, right? What does this portray right back to? What he says in Numbers 23, where he says he's not a man because, in the sense that he does not lie, what he says is will be fulfilled, etc. Right? He's doing the exact same thing. He's saying he won't do these things, and he's saying, "For I am not a man." Right? You could even argue that sure. You could take the view of, yeah, God isn't a man. The divine nature isn't a man. And also you could take the view of this was before Christ incarnated. God wasn't a hypostatic union. The distinct hypostasis of the Son was not a hypostatic union yet. So yeah, at that point, God was not a man. You could argue any of those three positions, and they work perfectly fine. There's no problem with either of those.
11:9.
Gotcha.
What am I saying?
No worries.
Let's check on this TikTok real quick. Let me see if I can get it up here.
They have concubines. Why do you guys trust Muhammad when he had a bunch of concubines?
No, we know why. Just
I may not know.
So you forgive me. You said no, I don't forgive you.
Yeah, I'm saying I'll saying where you're coming with this from the beginning, but
Paul says, he says,
dude,
God could not protect the books he
I'm
gave.
gonna mute while we wait. I literally had a live ready for when I wanted to come up, and it was that one from the Dawa guy, and then someone joined up. So unlucky, dude. Unbelievable. Well, yeah, that's what the Bible said. Sorry, you guys can't hear. He just said his response is going to be Jesus went to Hades for 3 days and preached in Hades. Yeah, that's what the Bible says. Dude. All right. You think they'll let me up? Oh, unbelievable, bro. Every single time before I start my live, I check TikTok to make sure there's a live for me to join, and then the second I start the live, someone joins. Hold on. All right. We'll wait. We'll wait a little longer. Let's continue with this. He's stumped right now. unfortunate. What's the problem with that? Like, if we just affirm progressive revelation, what? Okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. You just affirm progressive revelation, and it's not a problem. What? What? How does that follow? A human nature has the potentiality to lie, but Jesus didn't lie, or didn't have the potentiality to lie. Therefore, he didn't have the human nature. This is really what we're arguing? In the big 2025, we're really arguing this? Come on, bro. Come on. This... Oh, shoot. I had the thing muted. That's my bad. This is really what we're arguing.
Okay, so he had the potential.
You could just argue like, qua his divine nature, he's incapable of sin. But I mean, even without that, we could just argue like he didn't sin. He's still sinless. His human nature can be tempted. His human nature was tempted, right? But he didn't sin. Like, you could even say he is. I'm trying to think. Is there a problem with saying that he has the potentiality to lie? I mean, I don't see why there would be a problem. You could even just affirm that just for the sake of the argument, but he didn't. Like, you can just say, but he didn't. There's no problem with that necessarily, at least off the top of my head.
Potentiality to lie.
He had the potentiality, but did he lie?
Can God have the potentiality to lie?
The human nature isn't God, Goober. Come on, bro.
So it says that
that's what you respond. I don't know why this guy's responding with anything else. The human nature isn't God.
Right.
Sorry, going back to Numbers 23:19, that he should lie.
Right, because a man has the potentiality to lie. God doesn't have the potentiality to lie. Correct?
Right, but this one is insinuating men are liars, right? Jesus is not a liar.
That's exactly the point.
I'll happily pay him.
Oh no, not Bug.
What's up, y'all?
All
right, finally got on one.
Yeah, good.
I'm good. What y'all want to talk about?
Just general discussion. We were asking a lady one thing, but she obviously said shut up. So we thought, we'll move on.
I mean, I can answer. Ask me what you asked her. I'll answer it.
What are the requirements and criteria to become Hamashiach according to the Old Testament?
What do you mean by Hamashiach?
The Messiah.
Hamashiach is a definite article meaning the Messiah. What are the requirements? What are the requirements? The criteria to become the Messiah? I'm not asking about the fulfillment of prophecies. I'm asking in order to qualify to become the requirements to become a Messiah. What are they according to the Old Testament? How do you become the Messiah?
Yeah.
What are the requirements?
You have to be a descendant from Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and from the tribe of Judah, and from King David.
That's
right?
Genesis 49, I believe, from the tribe of Judah, correct?
Yep, 49:10. You have
49:10, yeah.
to.
You have to be from the line of David, King David, direct descendant of David, the seed of David.
Yep.
Okay, let me ask you something. Did Jesus have a father? Like an actual biological father?
I mean, you couldn't really say he didn't really technically have a biological father because it was a virgin birth.
Yeah, so I'm saying, did Jesus have a biological father?
So no.
Of course not. Then how is he from the line of David if he didn't have a biological
Mary.
father? No, you can't be. It has to be from the father's line.
According to
the
what?
book of Numbers, according to the messianic requirement, you have to be from the line of King David, direct his seed. It has to be from the father's line. It can't be from the line of the mother.
Where does it say it has to be from the father's line?
Oh, because the pedigree is mentioned. It comes from the tribe, right? The tribe is in Numbers chapter 1. Is it chapter 1 verse 11? Is it chapter 1? Where it says that the tribe to the line of the father is...
I guess we cut out here.
No Hasidic Orthodox Jewish rabbi would say that the Mashiach will be recognized through the mother's line. They don't recognize that. It's never matrilineal. It's always patrilineal. So I'm trying to figure out, if it's patrilineal, then if Jesus didn't have a father, then how does he qualify as becoming from the line of Judah? And how do we know what line Mary comes from anyway? How do you trace her line back anyway? With all due respect, how do you trace her line? Where do you find her line? According to the New Testament, how do you find her line anyway? Where is she from?
I mean,
how do you trace her line?
You just used genealogy from Luke 3.
Okay, look, let me ask you something. Suppose I even gave you that for the sake of argument, as generous that I am, I say to you, okay, fine. Even though it's not the case, I'm going to give it to you from the line of the mother. I'm going to give it to you. Show me Mary's genealogy from the New Testament.
Luke 3.
Go ahead. Go on, show me. Read it. Show me where it says Mary, her father, and her father. Go ahead. I would like to see that. I've read Luke very well. I may have missed that variant reading. I may have missed it. So maybe you can enlighten me. I don't even need to. I'm going to take your word for it. Normally, I read the scripture in order to verify it myself. But for this sake, I'm so confident that you are incorrect. I'm not going to even read the scripture. I'm going to take your word for it. Give me chapter 3, verses 23. Oh, now go on. You read it. Go on.
Yeah. Jesus, when he began his ministry, was about 30 years of age, being the son, as was supposed, of Joseph, the son of Heli, the son of Matthat, the son of Levi, the son of, and so on.
Where's Mary's mission?
Well, it would be through Mary, logically. I can explain why if you want.
Right. I'm going to say it one more time, Bug. I'm going to say it one more time in English. Don't make a fool of yourself or fool of anybody else. I don't like it. You sound intelligent so far. I know you from before anyway. But don't make a fool of yourself. I asked you a simple question. You know what? Academically speaking, let's be academic about it. Don't be apologetic. Be academic.
Yeah.
Just be saying sober about it. Listen, there's nothing to be embarrassed about because you normally get humiliated and embarrassed in lives anyway. So there's nothing to be embarrassed. And I'm not going to embarrass you. I'm simply asking you, where does Luke say
Here we go with the add-ons.
that it's from the genealogy is from the line of Mary? Mary is not even mentioned in that genealogy. Literally, it says Jesus being the supposed son of Heli, the son of so-and-so, the son of so-and-so. Now, I don't know Mary became the son. So Mary's the son as well. So Jesus is the son of Heli, who is the son of Joseph, who's the son of Heli. Mary's a man now. So we've got this transgender thing going on now. Mary's supposed to be a male. No. In reality.
It's not according to how the Greek genealogies work, it's not through.
Okay, listen,
it's not
Bug,
through
you know me and I
Joseph.
Look,
I can
Bug,
explain
Bug,
why.
Bug, if I was living in Africa or in Asia or in a third world country, then you could have probably pulled that stunt on me and it will work. Trust me, it will work. I know that.
Do you know the structure on how a genealogy works in Greek?
I of course I know very well.
What's like the basic structure for a genealogy?
Hold on,
in Greek?
Bug. This structure of genealogy works to the point that academics, theologians have made discussions on this. There have been academics. I challenge you to show me one conservative, not liberal, conservative scholar who openly declared that Luke is referring to Mary's genealogy. You will never find that. You'll never find an academic, conservative scholar going through that line. You'll find the odd apologetics, polemicist and apologetic Christian who probably pull that off, like you. But an academic will never do that because they know clearly that Luke is not referring to Mary's genealogy. Directly, it's there in black and white. Had I not known how to read in English, then maybe that would have worked. I can see it there in English. I can read in Arabic. I can read in other languages as well. And I can see it's referring to the genealogy of Joseph. So I'm going to ask you again, how do I know, where do I find the genealogy of Mary? And it's not there, my friend.
Yeah.
It's not there. Your church fathers disagree with that, man.
Yeah,
Your church fathers don't even agree that's the genealogy of Mary.
Exactly, and Bug, not just that. We have two different genealogies there. What's going on?
Yeah. So what is the? You said you knew the structure for the Greek genealogies. What is the basic structure for them?
It starts from the basic structure. What do you mean? What's the basic structure of a genealogy?
I asked you, do you know the basic structure for genealogies in Greek?
No. Explain to me what you mean by basic structure. No, hold on.
Why would you say yes if you didn't know what I meant?
No. That is not even a question to us. What do you mean?
So it's definite article name and then either of or son of and then definite article name, right? Mainly specifically definite article name, definite article name. That's the basic structure.
Bug. Are you Bug? 1 second, Bug. 1 second. Stop there, Bug. Stop. Did you try to just sound smart by saying that? What is the basic structure? Are you stupid?
How is that me trying to sound smart?
1 second, Bug. 1 second. Let me. When I speak, do not speak.
Yeah,
are you trying to tell me there has to be a structure for genealogy, you stupid idiot? No. Genealogy will literally be, for example, Abraham, who begot Isaac, who begot Kedar, Ishmael, who begot Kedar. Kedar begot so and so. We have a line, a chain.
You just used a structure
that we
right
can
there.
Go by.
Name, begot, name,
you don't
begot,
have to call
name.
It a structure, my friend.
That's what it is. You see it, for example, in Matthew 1.
Buggy. Are you trying to be smart with these words?
No.
You actually sound retarded.
I'm using simple terms for this, dude.
Right, so 1 second.
Telling me to calm down, bro.
We know everything has a structure, you idiot. Everything has a structure. There's nothing that doesn't have a structure. Everything has a structure. So don't just use the word structure and act like, does it have a structure? I'm saying, in that structure, can you show me Mary as part of the genealogy? And you don't find that.
Yes, because Joseph isn't a part of the genealogy.
Mary in that structure.
So within Greek genealogies, and we're pertaining to the New Testament, it's definite article name and then either son of or begotten or something else, definite article name. We see this, for example, with Matthew 1's genealogy, where it's the name, definite article name, begets, definite article name, begets, definite article name. We see this within, for example, Luke's genealogy as well. If you read from 24 onwards, it's a definite article name.
Hold on. What's the definite article? So what if it says the? That means nothing.
That's just the structure. That's how it's used.
Definite article means nothing. It's just part of the grammatical structure, you idiot. It's part
of so it is part of the structure.
How does that fix the genealogy?
Okay, I appreciate it. So I said it's part of the structure. Then you said, why does it matter? And then you affirmed it's part of the structure. So I don't know why you went on that tangent. We both agree with each other.
It's part of grammar.
It's part of the structure.
It's part of grammar. Okay, fine. Can you show me in that structure where Mary is mentioned?
So, okay. So to finish, we see this same pattern within Luke 3's genealogy, 24 onwards, and Matthew 1's genealogy. Now, they're also within genealogies when someone's outside.
Don't do this.
Can I finish my point, dude?
No, you can't. I want to see.
No, I can't. Then what's the point? Then what's the point of being up here? If you're literally telling me I can't finish, I can't answer. You said you won't let me answer.
Bug. You just baked yourself. You know Luke 3:23, it has a different genealogy to Matthew 1. Okay, literally, if you read Matthew 1, It says Jacob, the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary.
Look at this. I'm playing the game.
Now, if you go to Luke, it says, Luke 3:23, it says he was the son of Joseph. Bro, there's two different genealogies. What are you talking about? You give us the name Mary in there, Allah.
Where is the Mary mentioned in that genealogy, man? That's all I'm asking. Now, hold on. Give me a second, bro. Let me just go to Luke quickly. I'm going to rip this geezer up now on this. This is what I'm saying. And I told him, that's why I told him, I gave him a warning. And I said, make sure you take an academic approach. Don't take an apologist approach, because it's not going to work. And you took the apologist approach, not the academic approach.
I love how he literally said he wasn't going to let me answer.
Check this out. Akhi,
can I finish my point? No, I'm not going to let you.
Remember what he said about structure?
What's the point of asking me questions?
As in sounds that definite article sounds something amazing. You Muslims don't know what definite article means. You don't know what it means. I'm going to use it. Okay, here, look, check this out.
Definite article is like the most basic
was about 30
thing
years
ever,
old
dude.
when he began his ministry. He was the son, so it was thought, of Joseph. Definite article, the son of Heli. Definite article, the son of Matat. Definite article, the son of Levi. Definite article, the son of Melchi. Now I'm asking you, was Mary a male or female? Bug. Mary a male or female?
Female.
Can you help us? Is she, Mary, was Mary a male or female?
I already answered female.
Okay, female. Then why does Luke 23 read, and Akhi Dawa, can you help me on this? Why does it read the definite article, the son of Heli? How is Mary the son of Heli? Unless Mary was a male, then that's fine. But you've just conceded that Mary is not a female. So according to your structure, it seems to be that there's a flow there. Your structure has a flow, right? The Bible structure has a flow. But what you're doing here, what you've just done is you've made a transmission error there. You've put an issue within that flow. You said no. There's a structure there, and that structure has a definite article, and we find that in Matthew. But I don't see Mary being the son here, and you just said Mary isn't the son. So can you help us now where Mary is found?
Yeah. Let me pull up the Greek for you.
Hurry up.
Joseph, also the contradiction is this. Joseph, I was obviously answer Ibn Max's question, but this is also another contradiction. Joseph, the son of Heli in Luke, okay? Joseph, son of Jacob in Matthew. There's two different.
So we not only have we got a contradiction, we've got in both structural, according to your word terminology, both structural genealogy, we have the definite article and son. Daughter is mentioned because we do have genealogy where it does say the daughter of so and so within the book of Chronicles, the daughter of so and so who begat so and so, and he begat so and so, and he had a daughter by the name of so and so, and she begat so and so, and he was the father of so and so. We have this flow. We're not saying there isn't a flow. Of course there is, but in this transmission, why isn't daughter mentioned, my friend? Can you help me with that?
The son isn't even mentioned in the Greek, dude.
Oh, so son isn't mentioned in Greek.
For Luke 23.
So now we've caused a bigger issue now.
So Mary has no genealogy.
So no, not even Mary. He lied. Joseph doesn't even have a genealogy now.
Joseph has a genealogy in Matthew 1.
Hold on. According to Luke, son isn't mentioned. So when it says Joseph, the son of Heli, so what is it? Joseph the Heli? Is that a definite article? I remember. When after the definite article, what comes after if the son's not mentioned? Joseph the Heli. Is that what it is now?
Joseph
so now the son
isn't
isn't mentioned. Remember, you said that. You said that.
Because it's
Joseph
not going
what?
through Joseph.
Joseph
But you won't let me finish that point, as you
Joseph
said.
the
So, it doesn't
Heli.
really matter.
So wait. Hold on. This is really well done. I hope you clip this, bro. So, Bug, wait. Well, let me just clarify this. Jesus, the Joseph the Heli. Is that how it's reading now in Greek?
If you translate it directly to English, yeah.
Okay. So we've got even a bigger issue now. We only have definite article and we have a proper noun. we have a definite article and a proper noun, and neither of those names or proper nouns mention Mary. So we have an issue. Houston, we have a problem. My friend, do you see what's happened here? You shot yourself in the foot, not us. We just spoke to you. You picked up your own rifle and you shot yourself. We didn't do anything.
No, it just supports my point that Heli is not explicitly defined as a father-son relationship with Joseph.
Oh, so Heli isn't the son of or father of Joseph, no?
Because Luke 3:23 isn't going through Joseph's line, but you won't. You said yourself you wouldn't let me talk about that.
But you just okay. Did you hear that now, Dawa? Luke 3:23 is going through is explicitly going through Joseph's line.
I
then if
didn't
he's going
say
through
that.
Joseph's line, then Mary cannot be involved. You literally said that.
I didn't.
Again.
I said its absence shows that the relationship between Heli and Joseph isn't father-son.
Look, back. This is why you have to accept the truth. Allah says in the Quran,
just completely strawmans what I said.
The right places. Look
What's
what
up,
you're
ALC?
doing. You're literally doing tahrif on the spot. You're changing the text meanings around by telling us it doesn't say this, it says that. The Greek doesn't say this, it says that. It doesn't mean this, it says.
Did I lie about the Greek?
You're doing literal tahrif.
Did I lie about the Greek?
This is exactly what we laugh at you guys out. We say that these guys do tahrif. You say to us, where did we do the changes in the Bible? We don't do that. Now you're telling me the Bible doesn't explicitly say that Heli is the father of Joseph. You said that, not me. I didn't say that.
If you're saying I'm lying about that being what the Greek says, can you show me how I'm wrong?
Also, can you also show me the contradiction? Can you fix the contradiction? Sorry, Matthew 1. Go to Matthew 1. Okay, verse 16. It says Jacob, the father of Joseph.
Yeah, they're so dishonest.
So Jacob
watch. He just claimed that I was lying, and I'm going to ask him to justify it, and he's not going to answer.
He says Joseph,
they're going to avoid.
The son of Heli.
This is embarrassing, man.
Yeah, once he justifies his claim, I'll justify that.
Who's the father of Joseph?
What claim are we justifying, guys?
You're claiming that I'm lying about the Greek and what it talks about with the son.
I never said anything.
You're saying I was making up stuff with the Greek. I was saying all this. Justify that I'm lying.
Wait, hold on. I never said anything. All I'm saying is that.
Look at him. I told you he was gonna dodge. What's happened? Why can't I hear?
That's what I didn't say that. You're the one who said that. I'm saying, so if we're going to use that, 1 second. Hold on. So I'm reading. So guys. I'm literally.
It might be time to do my own stream.
Going to ask my friend here
again.
Can he show
after
us
this
where Mary is mentioned in that genealogy? Remember, that's all I'm asking you. I'm asking you simple, information. Simple, like where is Mary mentioned? This should be easy for you to pull out. If you make the claim Mary is the actual genealogy is belonging to Mary's genealogy, then that shouldn't be an issue for you to pull it out for me. You should be able to do it for me. It's easy.
Yeah.
Can you do that?
Yeah, once you justify your claim, sure.
What claim am I going to justify?
You were saying I was lying about what the Greek says, and that I was lying when it says it doesn't say son, all this other stuff.
I never said you lied about the Greek. I never said you lied about the Greek. All I said was
y'all saw it here.
You're altering and
I
you're
have it on live
changing
stream,
things
so,
around.
okay.
You're literally saying to me that this says it doesn't say this, it says that. So you're literally telling me that Mary is.
Do I just leave? Like, I don't want to leave because I don't want
to run. You've just done tahrif. You're telling me something which is not even there. I don't care what the Greek could say, whatever. That's not my problem. I can go to the Greek. I can say, okay, fine, it says that. It doesn't mention son. That's no problem.
So I'm saying something that's not even there.
Okay, fine.
So I'm lying. So justify that.
Wait a second. So we've just had new revelation, guys. Everyone in the room, everybody, thanks to Bugs, we've probably no Muslim apologist most probably hasn't looked into it. So Bugs has just opened up a new can of worms. According to the New Testament,
are you done poisoning
Luke
the well?
Chapter 3, verse 2. 1 second, Bugs. 1 second. Calm down, man. We're not gonna bite you. According to Luke 27, Luke 3:23 onwards, the son is not mentioned anywhere when it comes to the genealogy.
No, I didn't say that.
Well, that's what you
said. I
said.
said in Luke 3:23, the word the word
Okay,
son
but it's not
of
only Luke 23
Heli,
though.
son isn't
on.
there.
Hold on. But it's not only Luke 23. Luke 24 says the same as well. Son is not mentioned. Luke 24 doesn't say son as well in Greek. You didn't check that, did you? Luke 25 also doesn't mention son as well.
No,
Luke 25
that is true.
son.
You just said that. That's
so
what I
that's
said.
true. So
I never mentioned that.
So I have spoken the truth then, yeah? I have spoken the truth.
You
Okay,
said
fine.
I said
So-
that, but
so-
I didn't say that. I was specifically only talking about Luke 3:23. So you
No,
didn't
but
say
I'm
the
telling
truth.
you now, if we're gonna use that, then we have a problem. Look at Luke 3:31. Literally, when it says Matatha on Nathan and David, so Jesus can't be the son of David because son is not mentioned there. Literally, it doesn't say son. So we're gonna conclude he's not the son of David, according to Luke. Hold on, he's not the son of Judah. He's not the son. He's not the son. I mean, he's nobody's son in this context, to be honest. If we're gonna go by that, hold on, I'm just going on, man. This is really interesting. You just
He be
opened
a
a
descendant
really
of
good
David.
can of worm. Hold on a second, sir. Ah, look, it says, well, supposed to say son of Enosh, son of Seth, son of Adam, son of God, but it doesn't even say son of God. So Adam doesn't. It's not even the son of God. All it says, the Adam, the God. Ah, so now thanks for that. Did you see what's happened, Bound? We've just opened a new can of worm.
That's crazy, bro.
None of the genealogy members are considered to be the son of. So if they're no one to be, then that's a bullshit genealogy. Nobody's each other's son. With all due respect, this is not a genealogy then. How can that be a structural genealogy, you idiot, if none of them are each other's sons and fathers? That's no genealogy then. That is not a genealogy. According to your own admission, you said technically Heli is not the father of Joseph because he doesn't say that he's his son. Literally, that's what you said. So I'm going to go by the entire genealogy of Luke, and I said that can't even be a genealogy because technically nobody's each other's sons or fathers. So no problem, man. You just screwed yourself up now.
That wasn't my one claim. I was justifying my full position, but you literally said I won't let you say that. You weren't going to let me do it.
Calm down. I'm really happy.
Well, if you're going to say I'm not allowed to explain my position, and then okay, here we go. So ALC, before y'all joined, I literally asked him, "Can I explain my position?" And he said no. So he doesn't let me explain how specifically Joseph isn't. It's not talking about Joseph's actual genealogy in Luke 3:23, and then tries to straw man me off that. So intellectually dishonest. I'm just gonna start my own live. It's just better this way. All right. Let's see. All right. His argument that it's not through Mary. All right. Let's get some people up in here. He's basically arguing where's if a category of the Messiah is that he has to be through of the line of David, where in the Bible is he of the line of David. All right. Yeah, ALC, I started my live. If you want to share it. That's crazy timing though, because I made a video today talking about it, or the genealogy, how to explain it. He just said I wasn't allowed to, so it's unfortunate. That shows real intellectual integrity, wouldn't you agree? So, can I explain how it isn't through Joseph's genealogy? No. Welcome to live, guys. If you disagree with the background or have any questions, request up as guest. Yes, sir. I haven't done a TikTok live maybe this year, to be honest. My viewers are probably gonna be cooked. It's all good, Unknown Soldier. You're all good. All right. See if we can get someone up here. What up, Debu? If you disagree with the background or have any questions, request up as guest. Let's try to get some people in here. Assassin, Omar. All right. All we really need is like one person to come up here, and then we spark the live. One person that disagrees with the background. Let's see. What up, Big Al? If you guys disagree with the background or have any questions, request up as guest. What if we get any atheists? Run argument of motion or something. I haven't done that in so long. I need to, so I can get back on my game. I'll forget. If you guys disagree with the background or have any questions, request up as guest. Dude, that last guy's so intellectually dishonest. Oh, you can't read it? Yeah. I've heard that like 5,000 different times. I need to fix the background. I'm debating Islam, Jehovah's Witness, Hebrew Israelites, Mormons, atheists, anyone who's really. All right, dude. That last guy, the Jazza collector or whatever his name is, so intellectually dishonest. It's unbelievable. It's wild work. Can I explain how it's not through Joseph lineage or through the line of Joseph? No. It's like in his argument of what is it? It doesn't say son, so they're not of the genealogy. It's literally saying of, right? The word of Heli, of Mathat, which means like belonging to, or that's literally indicates lineage. Bug of his father. What up, Faye? If you disagree with the background or have any questions, request up as guest. Dude. I should have never stopped doing my YouTube or my TikTok lives. It wasn't a very smart decision on my end. See if we can get up here. This guy seems like he'd be insane to debate. Let's see. Royal, Manifest, Oscar. I don't want to debate him. Birdman Real. Yeah, I'll have to grind TikTok lives. I would suggest basically all pagan. Yeah. I need to do fix the background. I don't know what to put the background as. What up, William? If you disagree with the background or have any questions, request up as guest. Dude, those I can't get over it. Those arguments were so bad. It's so bad, bro. Yeah. I mean, if anyone comes up. Yo, should I do react while we wait for someone to come up here? Let me see what we got. We can finish Orthodox Muslim react. We wait. Welcome to live. Disagree with the background or have any questions, request up as guest. Yo, Chosen Grace, you want to come up? Oh, I didn't put Protestants up there. Dang. Now I have to update the thing. I'm debating Protestants too. I was about to suggest that. Yeah. All right, let me switch my screen then. While we wait, we'll do this.
Right. Didn't lie, although he had potential to lie. Because in human nature, you have the potential to lie, to sin. You could enact it and actualize it, or you could keep it as potential. But the potential still exists. For God,
right,
the potential doesn't exist to begin with. So now let me ask you again. Humanity, human nature necessitates potential to lie, correct?
Yes, but hold on one second.
Let me finish my argument. Does it necessitate potential to lie?
Sure.
Did Jesus have the human nature?
He did have human nature.
So Jesus had the potential to lie.
So because Jesus in his divinity,
Father Mark?
He shares the same divinity with the Father. Lying is not the will.
That's fine. I'm asking you, Jesus had a human nature.
What up, Jay? If y'all disagree with the background,
human nature necessitates
or
potential.
have any questions, request up. God bless, Father. All right, we got someone up. All right. What's up, Jay?
What's up?
What you want to talk about?
The prompt that you could prove God easily.
Yeah. So you're atheist, agnostic? What are you?
I'm agnostic.
All right, perfect. All right. I'm gonna run you through the premises. Where are they? All right. Okay. Premise 1: things in the universe are in motion. Motion meaning change. Premise 2: nothing moves / changes itself. Premise 3: a chain of movers can't go on infinitely in a per se causal chain. Premise 4: there must be a first mover that can't be moved by anything else and must be fully actualized. And premise 5: the first mover is what we call God.
All right. Do you have any proof or evidence for these premises, or are they arbitrary?
It's a deductive argument. I can justify the premises. Like, if you disagree with a premise, I can justify it.
No, but there is no actual way to provide proof of the premise. The last one specifically that you said, that the first mover is God. How can
I prove it through the premises? That's how a deductive argument works. Basically, a deductive argument, within a syllogism, you're basically arguing to show if you agree with the previous premises, then the conclusion is necessary. Like, that's a necessary conclusion. So if you were to agree with the previous 4 premises, then the conclusion that there's a first mover, that's the necessary conclusion.
Okay, but how does that first mover God? How do you?
Well, that's what we understand as God.
Okay. Well, I'm agnostic theist, so I do believe in a mover like that. And I wouldn't say, oh, your premises are correct, and that you could objectively say them to be correct. Someone could disagree with the earlier premises, but I don't disagree with them. So we can move on to the next one in the prompt, which is Jesus is God.
Yeah, according to the Bible, Jesus is God. Mm-hmm.
But I want to know why you believe that to be the case.
In the Bible, or that Jesus is God according to the Bible?
No. Just like, I'm sure you believe Christianity to be the absolute truth, right?
Uh-huh.
So I want to know your reasoning behind that.
Yeah. So whenever with stuff like that, I know the Connectleys uses a lot the idea that humans do not die for a lie they themselves made up. With that being said, right, I would argue that since that's not something humans do, the fact that we see this with the apostles and the eyewitnesses of Christ and of his resurrection, the fact that they were being persecuted, and if they were making up a lie, humans would not die for a lie that they're making up. And on top of that, the continued presence, despite the fact that they knew specifically that they were going to die, right? I believe it was Constantine who called out a thing that if you suspect anyone of being a Christian, to take them in and question them, and if they admit to being a Christian, they were to be unalived in very gruesome ways, such as being like tarred, burned alive, etc. Right?
Wait, Constantine, wasn't he
I
the
think
first
it was
Christian
one of the
emperor?
it was one of the Roman leaders. I could find the
It
source
can't
here.
be. Yeah, I believe you about that.
Yeah.
But it couldn't have been Constantine because
Yeah.
he was the one. He was the first Christian emperor.
Yeah, I might be wrong on that, on who it was specifically.
But I was gonna to your earlier prompt about humans don't die for stuff they don't truly believe in. I don't feel like that's historically accurate. You could look at the Persians, the Greeks. I mean, it was true, but we could specifically talk about how do you know these people died in the first place? Like, what's the historical accuracy of the Bible?
Yeah,
That's
it's
why
not.
I want to be wrong. I don't know if there's any historical documents other than the Bible that suggest they died. I know it's widely believed they died, and I have no reason to disagree. I would like to know.
Yeah, well, it's specific. It's not
from the
that dying for something you believe in. It's specifically that you're the one that made up that lie. For example, they were the people that made up the lie that they saw that Christ resurrected from the dead, and then they died for that. Not the people who believed in it but weren't eyewitnesses. It only pertains to the ones that physically made up that lie and then died for it.
I agree, but the eyewitness. Sorry, so you can continue. I interrupted.
No, it's all good. As for the sources you were talking about for the Christians, I mean, you have the early church history. I know Eusebius's and his ecclesiastical history writes about it. There's documents about specific like call outs to persecute or imprison and kill Christians that if they were to be found out to be Christians, etc.
But like, this is just like a persecution against an opposing ideology. Like, it was done to the Jews. It was done to, I don't know if I'm allowed to use that word in the live, but you know what I mean. It also was done to the Islam, but I mean, religious wars have always happened. Like, people have always exterminated opposing cultures. Even in BC time, before any form of Abrahamic religion popped up, people were killing opposing cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think just the persecution of Christianity provides like a basis of credibility on the eyewitnesses dying.
The credibility comes for them claiming to base. The credibility comes for the fact that humans do not make up a lie and then die for it, right? So that if there are eyewitnesses, they're claiming that Jesus rose from the dead, they saw it, and then they were persecuted or they were killed for that. If that humans wouldn't die for a lie, right? It's just something that we don't do. So the fact that happened to them would give them.
I agree with that. Humans don't die for a lie. You don't think an emperor has ever came up with a lie? You don't think
that they themselves made up and they died for? No.
I can't think of an example right now, and I don't want to interrupt the conversation by going to look it up.
I mean,
But
you
I'm
can if you
sure
want. Like,
either of us.
that's part of the
I'm sure we
argument
can
that it's
find
not documented. That's something that humans have never been documented to do. There's no
But like, how about the early Islamists? Did they truly that died for their faith? They didn't believe. Like, I don't know if that would be including coming up, but like, what do you mean by coming up? Do you know the original people who came up with the Christianic faith, and how do you know they died? You're talking about the eyewitnesses and first people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like that's like, for example, the Islamists in the 6th century, in the time of Muhammad, I'm sure they faced prosecution. Because the person who came up with Christianity, that would be around like 5 people or something. The original, whoever.
Yeah. Well, it specifically pertains to the ones that made up the lies. So, for example, if you could provide accounts of Muslims or that supposedly like made up Islam, and then they died for what they claimed to have seen or whatever, then that would actually debunk my argument. My argument pertains specifically to those cases, and that's something humans do
I'll
not
look it
do.
up for in a second. But I could concede to this point and move on if I can really quick.
Sure.
I don't want to like have this conversation on by research.
Yeah. Basically, all I was about to suggest that.
Okay. I just searched up real quick. There's one really silly example pertaining to Christianity specifically. The Mormon, you know his name, Joseph Mormon. I don't know
Joseph
his
Smith?
last name. Yeah. So he died in a mob. He came up with a lie, and that's the reason he died. Do you really believe he's the What did he believe that angel came down to him with a golden book?
Yeah, they like the angel Moroni revealed golden tablets.
So I'm assuming you're not a Mormon, right? And you don't
No.
believe that.
Yeah.
That he's a prophet. But he believed that, and he died for it, and you would suggest he made it up. But like another thing, it could just been like a lot of people have mental illness.
Well, it wasn't specific. He wasn't killed for his beliefs, right? Joseph Smith was jailed in Illinois for specifically charges were inciting a riot and treason, and the riot occurred because he ordered to destroy a printing press that had like made accusations against him of polygamy, etc., which he denied. And then the mob stormed into the jail and shot him multiple times. It wasn't for his like what he claimed to have seen or whatever. It was for him trying to destroy a printing press that called him out for his actions.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I never researched it. I just saw that he died in a mob and never denied his allegation. But what about Joan of Arc? She said that she received divine messages to fight for France, and even when burning on the stake, she still didn't deny that myth. Even after multiple people prosecuted her and told her that it's a lie, and they didn't believe it.
Joan of Arc was a Christian.
I know, but you didn't say just religious beliefs. She thought that she got a religious.
Yeah, I have no reason to disbelieve that. She was a devout Roman Catholic.
But why would she receive visions to fight for France? And but like, anyone can make a statement. The thing is, like, and I don't believe she received actual divine visions to fight for France. And then I feel like she just believed that. If you want to say that she truly got like a magical son, I don't know how I would debate that. Like, there just haven't been no proof of supernatural anything.
I mean, ultimately, it just stems back to humans don't die for a lie themselves made up. Because they're claiming this and then they're dying for this, it gives credit or validity to what they're saying because humans don't do that. That's basically
another example, Rasputin.
Rasputin? What about him?
He claimed to have magical powers and never denied them before he died.
It's for them being killed for that claim, right? So if he claimed he had magical powers and they come up to him and are saying like, we're going to kill you because you're claiming these things, and he continues to affirm that until he's killed, like in the face of that death, he's like, I have magical powers, blah blah blah. Even though they're saying they're going to kill him and then he dies, that would be an example of that, right? But he wasn't, just because he claimed something and then he was killed way later on, but it wasn't for that claim, that wouldn't apply here.
But I have a question. Isn't this the idea that people make up a lie and die for the same as like a spy refusing to tell like a spy of America going to Russia but refusing to tell Russia that they're an American spy and dying for it? I feel like this is a pretty common trope in history where people die for their beliefs. That's if they really believe it.
Well, yeah, that's because. So you're saying like a spy, like an American spy,
Yeah,
refused to say that
or
he.
religious figures. Yeah.
And then Russians killed him. I
No,
mean, do you have a
yeah.
specific example?
I mean, there's plenty of like spies across all of history. Loyal spies. I mean, I'm sure there's many war heroes that refuse to do treason. I'm not into military history though, so I don't know any names. I'm sure you could look them up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a specific example for that.
I could find you one, or we can move on from this.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I mean, even let's say that is the case, right? It's there. These would be two different scenarios, right? A spy would die for their mission, because their loyalty and training to not do that, self-preservation of intelligence, right? They're refusing to reveal their nationality to protect their country, and it's not about belief or a lie they invented.
Okay, this is just the last example before we move on, because I feel like each time we mention something, there's sometimes it points to it maybe, then it points to it not. It's just circular. I don't think we're gonna get much with this argument. So.
Yeah, but just like for example, like a CIA spy gets captured by Russians and refuses to admit that he's American, is executed. They're not dying for a lie they believe. They're maintaining their cover to protect their nation. They're not like affirming a false religion or ideological claim they invented.
All right. The last example is Charles Peace. He's a criminal who has overwhelmingly evidence against him, but he still maintained his innocence even when he died. That he knows what he's saying is a lie and is maintaining it. When he could have gotten maybe jail time or something if he told the truth.
Yeah, his death was a result of a legal process, right? He was convicted of murder. He was convicted and sentenced to death, but it wasn't because of a religious or ideological claim that he maintained.
No, but it doesn't have to be. It just has to be. You said a lie that someone believes in enough to die for it. Or
but even if he lied, right? He pled innocent against his crimes in trial, right? It's not the same as dying for a false, or a belief, a religious belief or claim that you made, right?
But he didn't just say he's innocent. He profoundly said that over time, even when he was going to die.
He didn't die because of. He didn't die for the claim he made. He died because they proved that he actually did the crimes. He wasn't killed for the claim he made.
He was a prolific serial killer. Like, there was no argument that he was gonna get. When he got caught, everyone knew it was him. Before the trial, after the trial, during the trial, everyone knew it was him. He knew that too. He knew there was no chance of winning.
Yeah, but he wasn't killed specifically for the claim he made. Or the.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I'm not.
So then it wouldn't apply there.
I'm saying he knew he would die for this lie if he doesn't admit it to be a lie. He would have maybe gotten jail time if he didn't lie. Instead, he continued to lie.
But that's not dying for a lie. That's maybe you could get a lesser sentence if you admitted it. But there's reasons why he wouldn't do that. For example, the chance of getting away with it. If he pleads guilty, then he doesn't have any chance of his lawyer getting him out of any jail time.
Well, like I said, he was known. It was overwhelmingly evident. I don't think any lawyer told him he was going to be able to get away with this. I don't think anybody thought he was going to get away. Maybe he would have even died, even if he pleaded innocent. I mean, he was a serial killer.
But ultimately, that's not him dying for a belief or lie he invented. That's him dying because they proved that he committed crimes.
Don't you think pride is pretty big and is a pretty big part of human nature? And then there are some people who would die for their pride. And
I don't believe there's any human that would die for a lie they themselves made up. I believe there's humans that would die for something they believe in, but not something that they made up.
Okay, I don't want to keep mentioning more names. We can move on from the second point.
Sure.
I was gonna ask about the morale problem in the Bible and how you like. I can't think of the term, like how you rationalize them as a 21st century human with different obvious moral beliefs, as in first century Israelites.
Yeah, I mean, what specifically do you want to talk about?
Like Samuel 1:15-3. Maybe I'm getting that verse wrong, where God commands a genocide.
Let me see. Samuel 1 against the Amalekites, Samuel 1:15.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's 1:15-3 or what the exact passage is. I could give it to you though if you need it.
No, it's all good. Yeah, so to start it's Samuel 1:15, 1-3, when God orders through the prophet Samuel orders the destruction of the Amalekites. But there's a reason behind that. Firstly, in Exodus 17, 8-16, the Amalekites had a long history of against Israel and fighting against Israel. For example, in Exodus 17, 8-16, it says, Then Amalek came and fought with Israel at Rephidim, and the Lord said to Moses, Write this as a memorial in a book and recite it in the ears of Joshua, that I will utterly blot out the memory of the Amalekites from under the heaven. Right? So they were attacking and killing God's people. It wasn't something like God just decided he wanted to kill them. Also, the Amalekites attacked them unprovoked while they were journeying through the wilderness. And so then God declared at that time that he would remember their sins and bring judgment upon them. And he didn't immediately destroy them. He gave, I guess it's approximately 400 years between the times of Exodus 17 till 1 Samuel 15 to give them the opportunity to repent and change, which they did not. And in fact, some of them did. For example, Joshua 2, 8-11, Rahab, who was a resident of Jericho, confessed that she believed in God, and she was spared from that judgment. So they had the opportunity to repent 400 years to believe in God and repent, especially when faced with like all the miracles, etc., that came from Israel and from God's people. And some Rahab, for example, did, but the rest of them didn't. So then he ultimately brought judgment on them.
Right, but don't you think it's still unfair to kill the infants of that tribe? They have done no sin.
Well, it's an omniscient God who is all knowing. They had even logically, they had 400 years to change, and they didn't change, right? Not all. That's 10 generations of people that didn't change. 10 generations of infants.
What do you mean they had 400 years change?
From the time that God said he would remember their sins and blot them out in Exodus 17 until 1 Samuel 15, the Amalekites continued to exist for over 400 years before God brought judgment on them, and they didn't change their ways.
Right, but like, does that call for the genocide of the infants and the animals and the cattle? Like,
Well,
what specifically about
they
that land
had
did you want to
10
eradicate?
generations of infants that could have grown up and changed, and they didn't. I mean, the logical and statistical pattern
But you
there
don't
is that
get,
the infants then wouldn't change. And even then,
but
that's not to
infants
say
are
that the infants
robots.
didn't go to hell, right? God's a perfectly moral being and a perfectly just being.
Exactly.
So a perfectly moral, just being, if he brought judgment and let's say a couple of the infants would have changed their ways or etc., they could still end up in heaven. That's not to say that all of them went to hell.
But a perfectly just God wouldn't call for the genocide of infants. He would find another solution. He's all powerful. But the idea of statistics, they're not robots. Whoever raises those infants, they will be raised with their ideology. If you already slaughtered the men and the women and the adults,
Yeah,
and all
exactly.
the
They would be
selected
raised with their
infants,
ideology, right? That
no, they
ideology
would be
was
raised with
a bad
Israelite
ideology.
ideology, right?
If they say,
No, because the men and the women got murdered already.
I mean, that could be another situation, but you have to understand that this God having these attributes it would logically follow that this is the like the best situation. And ultimately, you also got to understand that our entire existence comes from him, and we're under his ruling and guidelines, right? He doesn't owe us anything.
Okay, but like
We're the ones that like are constantly disrespecting him and destroying his land, destroying what his creation and corrupting it. He doesn't owe us anything. He could destroy us all now, and that's morally justified because we are under him. He controls us. He can do what he wants to us.
But this is just like but like, then what's the point of free will if he could just come down, slaughter us all, and we can't even criticize him for being immoral about that?
To have the free option to choose them and to have real love and real choice. Because without free will, it's not real.
Before we talk about free will and love, going back to that, so when the Israelites sinned, they got Moses to come down to a mountain with the 10 Commandments and a path to redemption. But when the Amalekites sinned and the Canaanites sinned, they just get slaughtered, infants included, and animals included. I don't believe that is fair under any moral guideline.
When they attack Israel unprovoked, killing a lot of the Israelites for no reason, while they're vulnerable trying to escape Egypt, and then after 400 years they don't change, then yes. But the Israelites, they didn't just attack each other unprovoked, and they eventually changed their ways, right? With the Amalekites, God gave them 400 years to change. Some of them did, for example, Rahab, and the others didn't. The Israelites had that opportunity to change after they disobeyed God with the 10 Commandments thing, and they did change. So they were given the same opportunity.
But they didn't get a 10 Commandments. They didn't get a prophet.
They got an immense amount
They didn't
of
receive guidance from God.
miracles and miraculous events to occur as a reason to believe in God and to follow him, which they ignored.
But they never got a messenger like the Israelites. Not one messenger. Or maybe I don't know the biblical story well enough, but I don't recall there being any form of messenger or that came to Canaanites with even peaceful terms. I mean, God literally told them to not make peace with them and just to slaughter them all. Take no slave, he said. Slaughter the infants, the babies, the cattle, the sheep. This does not seem to be the actions of an all-powerful and all-loving God. There's I can think there's a lot of different ways you could resolve that situation. Even Saul, the person who was given the command to do that, couldn't follow up with it, and that's why he got rejected to be king. He put his beliefs over God, and he got punished for that.
Yeah. But they were still given. They did something that would result in death, right? Doing something immoral, unprovoked attacking and killing of the Israelites. They were given 10 generations, 400 years to change their ways and to do better and to turn to God. They chose not to do that. Some did, like Rahab, and she's fine. And they didn't do that. So then God brought judgment to them, like he promised.
But isn't in the gospel specifically, God says the child shouldn't be punished for the father's sins?
Yeah, that is true, yeah. But they didn't change their ways.
But the infants are getting slaughtered because their elders didn't change their ways.
Thinking of it logically, right? This necessary being, this God, is all-knowing, right? He would know whether the infants would change their ways. He's also all just and like all fair, all righteous, right? So this all-knowing being that's perfectly just, perfectly fair, perfectly right would know whether the infants were going to grow up the same way or were going to change and be better, and he would judge them accordingly, right? It would deductively, it would logically follow that they weren't going to do that, based upon his actions. I mean, you can make a logical argument with premises for that as well.
No, but as a third person observator, you cannot make that claim without absolute proof that God exists. Because other than that, it just becomes a contradiction of God's nature. If you have absolute proof God exists and is all powerful and all knowing, then yes, you can make the claim. He knew exactly what they were going to do, and anything if you know God exists, anything he does is good, and anything he says is wrong is evil inherently. That is. He's all good, and he makes the idea what's good and bad.
Well, with the argument and emotion, I can prove God, and a necessary being has to have these attributes, so then I can just appeal to that.
Yeah, but you have no way to appeal that God is Jesus specifically, and it's not. It's a scripture that is.
Well, I ran my reasoning. Obviously, you said you were going to research it. But like
No, but that point alone wouldn't prove Jesus existed. All you proved is that his followers believed him enough to die for it.
Well, humans don't die for a lie they themselves made up. So since the followers did that, and that's something like historically there's no evidence of humans ever doing, then that would show that they would be telling the truth. So then if that's the case, and Christ really did claim to be God, and he resurrected from the dead, and he is affirming all the stories in the Old Testament as well, then the Old Testament would be true too.
But we actually have no proof that these people died beyond the words of the Bible, and we don't actually know for what reason they died, or if they had a trial. Like all the names I mentioned to you, you was able to bring up a reason for why it.
Yeah, we have historical evidence. Like even the church fathers wrote about it. For example, with Peter, Clement wrote about it. There's also Eusebius in his church history, and the traditions and stories from the people outside of the church and the churches from that area and the people that existed from the area. Eusebius compiles those into his ecclesiastical history and writes about it. Tertullian and Origen write about it. Clement write about it. That's all for Peter, right? Like there's multiple different accounts, documentations, traditions, etc. that record it. The Bible records James dying in Acts 12, 1-2 to the sword of King Herod Agrippa the first. I mean, there's writings for every apostle.
But wait, didn't you admit that if a U.S. spy was to get captured by the Soviets and whatever, and didn't admit it, they're just being loyal to their country, and it doesn't fit the standard? I don't know if I'm miswording you, but that's something similar to what you said, right?
Yeah, so if a CIA spy is captured by Russia, right, and they're refusing to admit they're American and is executed, they're not dying for a lie they believe. They're maintaining their cover to protect their nation. It's not affirming like a false religion or ideological claim they made.
But like, what if someone is just trying to further a narrative or further their ideology? Why and they wanted to go after their death? Why wouldn't they die for that?
The spies?
Yeah, like
they're motivated by their duty, their
terrorist
patriotism, the fear of betraying their country, etc. Versus
like, why do terrorists die for their country or die for the ideology or their beliefs?
Well, that's not dying for a lie they themselves made up, so it wouldn't equate there.
But what's the difference between dying for an ideology you're pushing and dying for a lie you
believe?
I don't think these people are lying. I think they believed it.
Well, the difference is one, you're believing in something that could be true or false, versus the other one, you're claiming that you're making up a lie and then dying for it, which we don't have.
But like, are you trying to say these people saw miracles and then decided to go on and say they made that up, or and people died for it, or is it just they believe Jesus Christ was truly God and they believe he was resurrected, so they spread that in their word?
They spread that, they held to it, and then they gaining nothing from it, right? For example, a spy, going back to the spy example, they are motivated and gain for their duty, patriotism, fear of betraying their country, and the espionage, which could lead to a bunch of different things. Versus the apostles, they gained nothing from this. They didn't gain a bunch of power or anything like that. They received suffering, persecution, and death from this. They didn't gain anything from what they were claiming, right?
I came with a really specific example that works perfectly for this scenario. It was in the Salem witch trials. Liz Corey, he was an accuser of people who saw witches. She said she saw witches, and she was burned at the stake and refused. And unlike the other accusers who were proven innocent, or not proven innocent, who were let go because they confessed their innocence, she refused to confess her innocence. And I'm sure you don't believe in witches, so the logical consistency is she didn't see witches.
What's the source for this? Miss Corey?
Gillis Corey. Gillis Corey.
Gillis Corey. All right.
I mean, people lie for the rest of their life. I don't think it's an uncommon trope for people to believe something or make up a lie.
No, it's specifically dying for that lie, not making up lie.
I mean, I don't see why would they admit to the lie unless they're gaining something. Like if they were already gonna die because of that lie in the first place, why would they admit
Okay,
to
where did for this witchcraft thing, where did he confess to like witchcraft and claim to see witches?
No, he was an accuser. He accused people of witchcraft.
Oh, okay.
And then he was burned for false accusation based on the source I'm reading right now. But like, I want you to know, I haven't done any deeper research into this thing. It's the first time I heard this argument. So.
Okay, so he accused people falsely of witchcraft, and then he died for that. So where does it talk about, like, where does he say that he accused people of committing witchcraft?
I'm reading he was pressed to death. I'm not sure if maybe your source is correct, mine isn't. That's what I'm reading.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like where he said like he was falsely accusing someone of committing witchcraft.
I don't know the sources they use for the Salem witch trials. The first.
I got you, Sakima.
I could look it up for you real quick.
Yeah, sure. Is audio better now, Sakima? I forgot I turned it down earlier. That's my bad. I'll bring you up next, AJ. I need to put up on the thing that I'm debating Protestants. I don't remember to do that. It's kind of important.
Oh, I got that example completely wrong. Gillis was someone who was accused who died, and the people that accused him knew it was a lie, and seeing people die didn't.
Yeah.
But that doesn't fit your example. So yeah, that was a wrong example.
Okay. What up, Without? Appreciate that.
But anyway, I enjoyed this conversation we had. It was really respectful, unlike many I have on this. But I have to leave right now, and I saw that you needed to talk to someone else.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'll let you go. Thank you for having a respectful conversation.
Of course. God bless, brother.
You too. Bye.
All right. What's up, AJ?
Okay, so it said that you like answer other questions. So I'm a Christian, and I have like a question about something in scripture because I'm confused, and it's like not even just a question. I also like I need like advice from another Christian. and you're a man, so you might be able to speak on this more. So I'll give you a little bit of like context. So I got with a guy. Me and this guy got together before we were Christian. Like I was a lukewarm, so I don't consider that Christian. It's either you're on fire for God or you're cold. It's one or the other. So I was a lukewarm and he was an agnostic. We had both decided to become Christian, and because we we heard Christ call. But it was a little different for each of us, and I noticed that. Like I was a lot more ahead of him, and he was kind of behind spiritually, and that's kind of where we are right now. And we're like working on it together. Like we're trying to work on it. It's not like he doesn't believe in God. He like admitted to me today and was like, I'm really scared. I'm like, well, why are you scared? Because it's big. It's a humongous change. And it's a lot to follow it. But I'm like, are you willing? He's like, yeah, I'm willing. Because if I wasn't willing, I wouldn't have just stayed with you just because I love you. It's something more deeper than that. I'm not just going to mess with it because of that, which makes sense. So like, but the problem is we are to get married in 4 months. That's like the scary part is we're getting married, but I'm very afraid of getting married unequally yoked. I want to know, is it considered unequally yoked if both people believe in Christ, but their spiritual maturity is a little different? And not saying that I'm much far ahead of them, because I've been struggling with habitual sin myself and actually committing to it. And we had just talked about it last night. We're like, yeah, we need to like restart and really like put God in the center of our relationship if we want blessings for our marriage.
Protestant,
and if
John.
that's how we want to live, then we need to commit to it. Because I've heard people say that it's wrong, that he has to be way ahead of you and he's supposed to be the one teaching you. And then I've heard that unequally yoked doesn't necessarily mean that. Like if they're both chasing Christ, but if they're at different pace, it's different. What is your interpretation, and what advice would you give if both people are willing, but there's a little bit of an intellectual difference there?
I would say this. Obviously, like with 2 Corinthians 6:14-15, it tells us not to like be in partnership and marry unbelievers and people you're unequally yoked with, right? If you're both striving for God, obviously you're in different places. I wouldn't say that that's wrong or like a bad thing or bad relationship to be in, because you're both still chasing and striving to have a relationship with God. So I wouldn't say that there's a problem with that at all. I mean, as long as he's still like making strives and working his relationship with God, I don't see how it would be a problem at all.
We talked about that, and something that he had said to me, which I tried to like, I don't know if I gave him the right advice here, but I tried to, like explain it to him in the best way I could. He's like, well, I just don't feel him, like I just don't feel God. Why can't I feel him? I'm like, well, there's many reasons. One, he's a spiritual being and he's not in the physical, although he can.
John, I
he's
hate
primarily a
answering questions like
spiritual
this.
being,
This is
and
not my
asking him to be
position here.
physically there is not really logical. And second, it takes faith.
Hold up, I'm gonna fix
I'm
this.
like, you can't, even when you don't feel his presence there, it doesn't mean he's not there. You still have to have faith, and that's where he's calling you to come closer to him, because as we draw closer to him, he'll draw closer to you. And I tried to explain that to my partner, that it's, that's what it's like. So he's struggling there. That's where he's struggling, is really getting to know God right now, because he's very eager and he wants to build a relationship. He's just like, he doesn't know how. And I'm trying to explain to him that, well, we need to read the word. Reading the word together and separately
See you in an hour,
is
John.
really
Appreciate you
good.
stopping by.
And he has an intellectual disability. So I told him it's okay to even like listen to podcasts that read the Bible, and then like Bible study podcasts, like that's fine. If that's what it takes for you to really understand. Being in prayer a lot and praying over your partner, praying over yourself and other people is really beneficial. And seeking out people who are also Christian, because I tried to explain to him that you got to be careful where you lean, and if you have a bunch of friends that are pulling you away from God,
I agree.
It could really be bad for you, and you need to surround yourself with people that are also of like yoke, because that also goes for friendships. It's not just relationships. And I tried to kind of explain that to him.
Yeah.
So, you know, like I said, like I might already be like deep into the word and trying to get into the word, where he is at a different level. He's just starting out and wanting to get to know God, just like accepting him into his life and wanting to get to know. So is that something that I should break off because it's quote unquote unequally yoked, or is that something where God is at work and we should like work with it?
I mean, obviously the best thing to do is to talk to your priest, but you're not Orthodox, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay. I mean, I would say that like, if he's on that path, still trying to learn God and is genuine about that, to stay with him. But if it's something where like he's not striving or pursuing that and pursuing finding God and those types of things, then that's when I would say is to break off, because then you're unequally yoked.
Right,
Everyone's in a different spot spiritually, you know what I mean?
Right, and that's where we kind of both started out, and that's why last night we had to really sit down and talk about it. And I was like, you know, I noticed that you say you do this, but I don't really see you trying much, and that's why I really think that we need to grow closer. It's, you know, it's important, especially if you want to talk about marriage and getting married to me, then I need to also have a man of God who's willing to lead me. You know, and providing doesn't just mean physical, and a lot of people forget that. Providing is also spiritual. So I tried to explain that to him too, that it's not just you providing me physical, it's you being able to be spiritually available for me too, and be able to be there and be able to go to God. So we're both kind of taking a backtrack and restarting and trying to do this together and slowing it down a little bit, because we were getting way ahead of the game. But like I said, he started out like that. Last night we talked about it, and he says he's gonna do it, but I'm still nervous. I don't know if that's normal. I don't know if it's normal to be nervous and anxious about something like this. I think, you know why? I think it's because I know I'm not in control, and this is something that God and him have to sort out. It's something that I can't make happen, because you can't make a disciple. You can't make someone come to Christ. That they have to do that on their own. So now I'm just in the waiting for that. So I don't know what you think about all of that.
I mean, I would say as long as he's working towards that and he's actually doing what he's saying and he's striving and for that relationship and that connection and to learn more, then that's fine. But if that's not happening, then that's when you would break it off. But yeah,
Right.
I appreciate you coming up.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right, God bless. If you guys have any questions or disagree with the background, request up as guests. What's my proof? Sure. Do you want to come up? Dude, I forgot to change my background, and I didn't want to just like push that girl away. You know what I mean? That's not my job to answer those questions, but I don't want to be that guy to like push someone away. All right. See, does anyone want to come up? Mal, do you want to come up? You were talking earlier. Let's see. Does Lustral want to come up? All right, we got Mal. What's up?
You hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just came up. Thing. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry about that. No, I came up because I wanted to just show that I would love to talk to you, but I'm still driving.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see a customer, but maybe afterwards, if you're still on, or tomorrow, I'm gonna follow you. I'll hop in, and yeah, we can definitely talk, bro.
All right. Sounds good. Appreciate it.
All right, but I'm still gonna be listening. If I help out, because I'm gonna meet with my customer very soon.
All right. God bless.
All right, take it easy.
God bless.
You too.
All right. If you guys disagree with the background or have any questions, request up as guest. Let's get some people up here, dude. What's up, Emp? Let's see. All right. H8. What's up?
Quick. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello?
Yo, I'll be quick. What's the proof?
Yeah, I'd run the argument in motion. I'll run you through the premises. Premise 1, things in the universe are in motion, meaning change. Premise 2, nothing moves / changes itself. Premise 3, a chain of movers can't go on infinitely in a per se causal chain. Premise 4, there must be a first mover that can't be moved by anything else. Conclusion is the first mover is what we call God.
Doesn't P4 contradict with P2? Could you run those two back?
Yeah, P2 is nothing moves / changes itself. Premise 4, there must be a first mover that can't be moved by anything else.
Yeah, so aren't those like contradictions?
No, like how would that be contradictory?
Well, that we would 4 would negate P2.
How so?
Well, it basically just says, like you said, nothing can move itself.
Nothing can move itself. Yeah.
Yeah, and what was the rest of P2?
Nothing moves / changes itself. That's P2.
Okay, P3 one more time.
A chain of movers can't go on infinitely in a per se causal chain.
Okay, and P4.
There must be a first mover that can't be moved by anything else.
Okay, so I'm trying to think. And your P, what was your conclusion?
The first mover is what we call God.
What was that? I'm sorry.
The first mover is what we call God.
Got it. Okay. Was that after P? Was there a P5 there too?
No.
No. Okay, so it's just P4. Okay, got it. So why can't that first thing, I guess, be like a non-conscious entity?
Why can't it be a non-conscious entity?
Yeah. Is there an argument for that?
I mean, yeah, I have an argument for that. I think. I mean, sorry about the dogs in the background. A couple things. Let's just looking at the universe, right? If we have an unmoved mover that is a non-conscious entity, really, if we look at the nature of motion itself and how Thomas Aquinas argues it, he defines change as anything including physical movement or form, quality, or purpose, right? And for motion or change to occur, it's in a directed and ordered manner, and so it must be guided by something that possesses knowledge or intentionality. If it's a non-conscious being, it can only act according to its nature without having that understanding directing that action. So I guess if everything was like the same change or order and etc., then you could have a non-conscious entity be the first mover. But because every change is different, it would require some knowledge or intentionality.
So wait, I don't think I follow. Could you lay it out in a syllogism?
I don't know if I can. Let me think. How would I lay it out? Premise 1 would be all things that are directed by purposeful behavior, or all things that are exhibit being directed through purposeful behavior must be directed by an intelligent cause. Premise 2 would be
by purposeful. Let's take it one by one. By purposeful behavior, what is that?
Anything that it exhibits a cause that's directed or orderly would that would be a purposeful behavior. So just
as a rock
for example,
falling down a hill.
If we look at lighting a match, there's a purposeful behavior by the way the chemical compounds, when you strike it, create heat that then activates a chemical compound on the tip of the match that then starts a fire.
But that reaction doesn't necessitate a mind, right?
No, but if you were to say that it was an unconscious being, if there's every act or if there's so many different causes or acts that are all different, that are sparked by different causes and completely different scenarios, then I don't see how logically an unconscious being could do that, right? Because it's not something where it's like an orderly thing where it's the same thing causes every other thing. Like for example, let's say every single cause was, let's just take jumping, right? When I jump, I'm using the muscles in my legs to propel myself forward. If that was the same reason for every single cause, then I could see how a non-conscious first mover could exist, because it's the same thing repeated over and over again. But with what we see, it's not a consistent pattern or same reason. There's different reasons, completely randomized pattern. I don't see how an unconscious being could have this completely randomized pattern to be that first.
So you're saying because you can't see that reality is a product of randomness, it necessitates that it comes from a mind. Is that your argument?
I'm saying that since all these causes aren't consistent and are caused by different things, different reasons, different scenarios, I don't see how a non-conscious being could be the first cause and support that.
Is that an incredulity argument there? Like, because you can't imagine it, therefore
I'm just
not?
like you just saying that in like a what is the word, like a figurative sense. I'm not actually saying like I could just remove that wording and say that it wouldn't logically follow. How would that logically follow that there can be the universe can exhibit all these randomized patterns and causes that are from a multitude of different reasons, and an unconscious entity sustains all that?
Well, it could just be like necessity. It's kind of like how you're appealing to like the necessity of like a conscious being. Like I guess like what's stopping someone from saying that that is like a necessary function of the universe.
It's a necessary function of the universe. How it's like, can you unpack that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm basically just like I'm bottoming out at like some sort of like brute fact, kind of similar to what you're doing. Like I could probably say like I don't understand how like a mind could create a universe with all these random occurrences, because us with minds don't even understand what randomness truly is. So I guess at the end of the day, like what's stopping someone from saying like, let me pause it at this naturalistic brute force conclusion versus one that is more supernatural and undemonstrated?
So you're really saying it's just by necessity it's able to do these things?
Yeah, basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to like mirror yours, because in a way it kind of sounds like you're saying it's by necessity in your view that it has to come from a conscious entity outside of space-time. But what I'm saying is like, why isn't it more rational to conclude that it's a natural explanation instead of something that isn't demonstrated? Like, why can't our brute facts ground out with naturalism versus supernaturalism?
I mean, so ultimately, like, either it's really a thing of like either or. It could be a non-conscious being or it could be a conscious being. But how, like, logically, how would it follow that a non-conscious being could do these things versus like a conscious being? Why would it be a non-conscious being?
Well, it could just be like a some sort of causal chain of event. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with like the C theory of time, to where like it's a repeating cycle of events. So that doesn't necessarily necessitate there needs to be like a first cause. There isn't necessarily a contradiction with like an eternal past.
With C theory of time?
No.
Okay.
Some quantum models also use like infinite regresses to base their models on. So it's not like just because something's like infinite past doesn't necessarily mean it's like viciously circular either.
Yeah, but are you still affirming a per se causal chain?
I guess you'd have to explain what that means.
Okay. So a per se causal chain is basically that every cause is sustained. Causes are sustained by and sparked by a previous cause, right? And it's a continued sustainment, like they're dependent on another cause, right then. For example, let's say there's a chandelier and there's three chain links that hold it to the ceiling, right? Each chain link is the second chain link is dependent on the first chain link that's connected to the ceiling to constantly be connected to the ceiling for it to hold up the rest, right? If the first chain link ceased to exist, then the second chain link wouldn't be connected to the ceiling and the chandelier would fall down, right?
Yeah, okay, I follow you. I mean, I guess to give an example, like you could say like we have like a causal chain link up to the Big Bang, but before that there's like a wall. We have no way to see what's beyond that. So who knows, like there could be like a giant circle behind that wall. We have no way to tell what's beyond that limit of observation, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could say that, but the argument I'm running isn't a deductive argument. So if you agree with the premises, it's a necessary conclusion. So you couldn't really just say that like we don't know that if there's a big circle behind this wall or whatever, right? The point of the argument shows it's a necessary conclusion.
Right. Well, I guess I would probably then reject the premise that states that there's a single necessary cause.
What do you mean a single necessary cause? Like if there's a first cause?
Correct.
All right. So then how would that work?
Something's like a
per se causal chain, because like if there isn't a first cause, like going back to
it's kind of like numbers are like they go like negative infinity.
Yeah, that's like not a per se causal chain. Like for example, if you were to say that there isn't a first mover, going back to the analogy I gave of what a per se causal chain is, if we have that a chandelier and it's held up by the chain links, if there's an infinite regress, there's an infinite amount of chain links, but there's no link that connects to the ceiling, so the chandelier wouldn't be held up by anything. It would fall, right? There has to be a first cause which would be the thing that's like the chain link connects to the ceiling, so that the chandelier can hold. If there is just an infinite amount of chain links and no ceiling or first cause, then the chandelier wouldn't hold up.
Yeah, and what I was describing was like at the Big Bang, like the Big Bang's kind of like the hole in the wall, like it's that last piece of the chain that we can see, you know. But we have no way to know what's like beyond that wall, so we can't necessarily say that it's infinite behind that wall. But in our universe, yeah, it does look like there's like a causal chain of events from the Big Bang. But anything before that, I don't know if we can necessarily say that there's like just one more link behind that wall, because we can't really see it. Does that make sense?
So basically you're saying we can't know like what's past the Big Bang, so maybe there can be an infinite regress?
Yeah, correct. And mainly there could be, just because like there's other forms of infinite regresses and like mathematical models, quantum models, that maybe show that an infinite regress isn't impossible.
But how would that logically follow? Because an infinite regress is metaphysically impossible. Whether like it doesn't matter if you can see behind the Big Bang or not. It's like
hold on. How would you demonstrate that claim that it's metaphysically impossible that an infinite regress?
Well, a per se causal chain, it would be an endless chain of dependent events with no starting point. So you could just use the chandelier analogy, because each chain would be a dependent event, and if there's an infinite regress of dependent events with no starting point, the starting point being the chain that connects to the ceiling, then the chandelier couldn't be held up because nothing's connecting it to the ceiling. That's how I would demonstrate it.
How do I? Yeah, I'm trying to think of like in C theory of time, they kind of see time as like imagine like a circle, like, and let's imagine like super hypothetically, right? This is kind of hard to lay out, but bear with me. Like imagine like that chandelier behind it is just like a giant, like a circle basically. So like even though it's like an infinite chain, there's really like no starting point or stopping point to that circle. There's still some point that we're on in that circle, in that circular chain.
Okay, so you're saying what, like with C theory of time, there could be an infinite regress of a per se causal chain.
I don't know if it necessitates like there need by causal chain. I think I would agree with that, yeah, but not meaning where it needs like some sort of first mover. Like it could have just always been moving, I guess, in that
Doesn't
view.
C theory of time affirm that all events are equally real?
That I'm not sure on. I'd have to study more.
Because I thought A theory of time is like flows, right? So you're flowing past, present, future, right? B theory of time is like time is a static series.
I think that's B theory of time. I think that's B theory of time, what you're saying, where like all events are like real and happening at the same time. I want to say that's B theory.
Okay, so you're saying C theory of the time in the sense that time is like a static series and of like ordered sequences?
My understanding of C theory time is like time is like a circular event. There's some forms of like quantum modeling that kind of act as evidence for this. To be honest, I'm probably not explaining it well, but it could be something to look into. I'll probably look into it after this talk, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But basically, what I'm trying to say is it's not necessary. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I mean, I don't know. I only know about C theory of time in the sense of what I talked about with it being all time is equally real, past, present, future, and then B theory.
No, I think that's B theory. I don't know.
I mean, I thought B theory is time is like a tenseless block where all events exist equally at the same time and are ordered in a series or relationship, earlier than later than.
Yeah, I think that's B theory.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. To be honest, I'd have to look it up. But I want to say C theory of time is like evidence against the claim that infinite regress is logically inconsistent, because it kind of like works more with like quantum logic. Like some quantum logics don't necessarily need like a first cause.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Yeah, so I mean, like, who knows? Like, if the basis of reality is like quantum, I mean, then maybe it is infinite regression. I don't really take the position that like the start or the like what is the basis for the universe. I'm really not convinced that we have the ability to truly know that. Open to being wrong, but any sort of deep metaphysical commitment, I'm a little skeptical on.
Yeah. So basically, you're holding that like there could be like a quantum logic discovery that shows that there can be like an infinite regress of causes in a per se causal chain.
Yeah, or like if I think that, quantum modeling shows that if time really boils down to the quantum, then it could be logically consistent that there could be an infinite regress. And when I say logically consistent, it may not be like classically logically consistent, but it could be like a form of like a Schrodinger's logic.
How that wouldn't follow, because we're talking about metaphysical principles, right? No amount of like scientific discovery would, like, even within quantum logic or whatever, could change metaphysical truths. Like science is about like how things behave, versus metaphysics is the why, like why things exist and are structured. So like,
and that's what I'm saying. Like
scientific
I don't really
discoveries wouldn't affect them.
Well, I don't really know. Like they wouldn't affect those metaphysical, like, let's just call them truths. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't know if like we're going to be able to understand those metaphysical truths given the limits of our observation. Like I don't know if we have access to those metaphysical truths.
Okay.
Like all we have is like kind of like these models that we can create to give us best guesses. But I don't know, anytime like someone has like a deep metaphysical commitment, I'm immediately skeptical, because like you kind of have to show that the contrary is impossible.
Okay. Okay, so it's more of a thing of like we're limited in logic, so we can't really understand metaphysical truths.
Yeah, we're not so much limited in logic, but more so like just limited in our ability to perceive the true nature of reality. And I think this is demonstrated through scientific means, but it just makes me more skeptical that we can hold on to like deep metaphysical commitments.
But this is a self-defeating position. Like if you're saying we're too limited by logic to understand metaphysical truths, then the statement that we're limited by like logic and our knowledge is itself.
No, I said we're limited in our ability to perceive the true nature of reality, not so much that we're limited in logic.
We are limited in our ability to perceive the true nature of reality. What do you mean by that?
Like our perceptions aren't like a one-to-one map of what is actually real. Like I'm more of like a deflationist when it comes to any like metaphysical or existent conclusions. Like all we really have is just like this perception that we're working off of, but we don't really have a good way to tie that perception to like true reality. We can be justified based on the scientific models that we create, but that justification isn't like a one-to-one tie to reality.
But like,
that makes sense.
Us being limited on knowing certain things, for example, like we're limited in the sense we can't see ultraviolet light, etc. Metaphysical truths is not about like seeing reality, but arguing like how reality must be necessarily. So we could still be limited, but it doesn't mean we're completely blind in the sense that we can't know metaphysical truths. Like metaphysical truths wouldn't be dependent on our perception.
Yeah, but I guess like what I'm trying to say is like we lack access to those metaphysical truths because like I don't know, I feel like you would kind of have to have like absolute certainty that that is the true state of being. And I don't know, like given our ability to percept, I don't know if we have that ability. Like it almost feels like we need like we need to be all knowing in order to make a metaphysical commitment.
Why would we need that?
Well, because then you would have to be certain that that is the true state of being.
So you're making a claim that we need to be all knowing to be certain on a metaphysical reality?
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that, isn't this claim itself, like, once again, a metaphysical assertion? You're making a metaphysical assertion that you cannot be certain about metaphysical truth without being all-knowing.
No, it's epistemic.
How would this not be self-defeating?
What do you mean?
You're making the claim that you cannot be certain about metaphysical truth without being all-knowing, but if you're making that claim, then you would need to be all-knowing to know whether or not that claim is true.
Well, I'm not necessarily saying that like I can't just like pick a metaphysical commitment and that could be true. I'm not saying that's impossible, but like what I'm saying is that we lack the ability to be justified in those commitments.
How will we lack the ability to be justified in certain commitments? Like, how would, for example, if I'm arguing that a certain metaphysical truth is true and I run a deductive argument the conclusion, if you agree with the premises, is that it's a necessary truth, like how would that not work there? Like if I could run that and it works, then that would be a necessary truth.
Well, that we have no real good way to like falsify that necessity. So like I guess like I kind of look at it from more of an epistemic standard. Like we have no way to show that could be wrong. We have no way to disconfirm it. So I don't really know.
You could disconfirm it using logic if it's false. I mean, you can make the claim that, like, for example, you or I don't know the answer because we just haven't studied enough, or etc. But like other humans or smarter people could answer or know. But to say that we entirely can't know, that wouldn't logically follow, especially if you're running like a deductive argument.
Yeah, I guess I would just need to know like what's an example of like a metaphysical commitment that we can look at. Maybe I can paint the example better.
I mean, like let's use the one we're talking about right now, that there needs to be a first mover.
Okay, so like, are you saying that it's then impossible for universes to exist that lack a first mover?
If it's a per se causal chain, yeah, I'd agree.
Okay, so I guess where my contention is like, how do you actually demonstrate that?
Yeah, with the chandelier analogy. That's what a per se causal chain is, and since that's what the chandelier analogy is, I would just use that analogy to show that it's impossible for there to be an infinite regress.
But there could still be like an infinite chain, though. I don't really see how that's like metaphysically
How would the
impossible.
chandelier be? Explain to me, like logically,
it might be like classically.
What were you gonna say?
Like I think you're conflating like classical logic as like a metaphysical truth. Like just because it's like it doesn't conform to like classical logic's constraints doesn't mean that it's like a deep metaphysical truth.
No, yeah, I would agree, but I'm using a deductive argument to show that this would be a necessarily metaphysical truth.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure if deductive arguments can lead to metaphysical truths.
Well, that's the purpose of it, right? A deductive argument, the purpose is if you agree with the premises, then the conclusion is necessary. So, like, if
it's necessary within that classical logic system, but I don't know if it's like metaphysically necessary. I'd honestly have to do more reading on it.
Yeah, I mean, if you disagree with that, then like the way you would go about it is showing how the premises, for example, like don't logically follow. Let's say like you say, pick a random premise like premise 3, you would show to disprove that my argument, you would show like how premise 3 logically doesn't follow, whether it's by debunking whatever aspects of classical theism or whatever I'm using, and showing like how this isn't metaphysical truth or whatever.
Got it. I see.
Yeah.
What was the? It was like the argument for motion, right? From Aquinas.
Yeah. Thomas Aquinas' argument for motion.
And it was just run it through it one more time.
Yeah. Premise 1: things in the universe are in motion. Motion meaning change. Premise 2: nothing moves itself. Premise 3: a chain of movers can't go on infinitely in a per se causal chain. Premise 4: there must be a first mover that can't be moved by anything else. Premise 5: the first mover is what we call God.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's like the easiest contention I see is just that P5 then. Yeah. It's like, is that first mover, does it necessarily need to be God? But then we kind of went into why you think it's a mind and why I don't think it's a mind.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of take like what's his name? He's Graham Oppy does some good analysis on this topic of like pragmatism and choosing like a naturalistic explanation over a supernaturalistic one. So I think I kind of hold more to that, but I don't know if you're familiar with them or not.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna probably study a little bit more on C theory of time. I think that would probably be good because I think there's ways or reasons to think that infinite regresses aren't necessarily impossible, and I don't know if I'm explaining it well enough.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah, man, had a good one.
Of course.
Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. All right. Oh, what else do I need to do? Let's see. I'll bring Biggs up.
Hey, brother, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I love Jesus. I love God. I hate religion.
Why is that?
Because there's so much of it.
Oversaturated.
It's oversaturated. You know, let's just put it in layman terms. I mean, you know, your regular Judaist today, you know, Christian, and then you have the Catholics, which Catholics believe you burn you burn incense, and you got to pray to Mary, and you got to pray to this person, you got to pray to that person, and then the Mormons believe you got to pray to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, and Jesus says it was done. You know, I died for you. It's done. It's just very simple. Has to be forgiven, and you'll be forgiven. I mean, it's done. Like, it's Yeah, I hate religion and I love Jesus for God.
Yeah. Do you disagree with the background at all?
No.
Well, I appreciate you coming up, brother.
God bless you, my friend.
God bless you too.
Keep up the word.
Thank you.
Bye, brother.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, let's see. How long have we been up here? Let's see. All right. I think I'm gonna end the TikTok live here, y'all. I appreciate y'all for all coming up and joining the live. We'll probably be live Monday. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. God bless y'all. All right. Okay. There we go. That was pretty good right there. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's go back to full chat or normal chat. That was good. All right, we had some good conversations there. Next time we go, I do that, or next time I'm doing TikTok lives, we're doing my live again. That was way better than what was going on before, trying to find a debate and doing all the nonsense. All right. Let's see what we got going on. 3-tier argument tag. God is necessary for knowledge. We have knowledge, therefore God. Disjunct, leading to true dichotomy, impossibility to contrary. I appreciate without lies. I'm very rusty on my argument for motion. I don't even think I've talked about it this year, or even looked into it at all this year, like any studying or anything. I thought I was gonna get slammed, honestly. I can't believe I forgot what C theory of time is. You know what? Let's look into that. Was I wrong? But what does this entail? I don't know what this entails. Maybe it's something I gotta look into in my free time. Posits that time lacks a direction. It's not about a linear progression from past to future. What is it? That was the first time. Yeah, I haven't heard of C theory in time, and I think the last time I looked into that was December. And I spent like 20 minutes on it. Cope, yeah. Just Z brings out like Z theory of time, just starts making up stuff. I still don't see like how this would debunk it. I think what his problem was, like, he was trying, like, I think he D theory of time, yeah. Let's invent T theory of time. T stands for Trinity, and like in this theory of time, if you affirm it, you have to affirm that Orthodox Christianity is true and that there's a triune God or something. Let's just start inventing stuff. But I think he was knowledgeable. He was very knowledgeable. I feel like what he was trying to do was like get like around the argument, because I don't think he like had his arguments against it with him, or like he wasn't prepared for it. So like he went into like basic stuff, like saying like how science could defeat a metaphysical truth, like that wouldn't follow, or like the deductive argument thing. Like I think he was trying to get around it, but I mean ultimately that's what a deductive argument is. If you agree with the premises, and it's a necessary conclusion. And he said, and like if you try to argue against that, then the way to argue against that would be to show how it's not a necessary conclusion by like debunking the premises or showing how it's not a necessary conclusion, right? You can't just say, well, there could be a scientific discovery. A scientific discovery wouldn't affect a metaphysical truth. If it did, then you could just affirm that my argument's a God's the gaps fallacy, and then you're cooked. You could affirm tag as a gods of the gas fallacy too. I mean, that would, but it isn't, because metaphysical things aren't changed by science. Science is the how, metaphysics is the why. All right, let's see what we got going on here. He said he was skeptical on any metaphysical truth. What kind of life is that? Yeah. It seems sophistry to me, but at least he was cordial. Yeah, very respectful. It is weird though. Like, I think he was starting to realize, like, he can say that, but the entire argument's a deductive argument. So, like, and you can even if you affirm that, like, we're limited in knowledge, like, what do you mean we can't know what what are metaphysical truths? Like, metaphysical truths are, like, the people who made them and, like, developed them can justify them logically, right? To prove that they exist. It's not just like we're making up metaphysical truths and no one's justifying them. Oh yeah, I gained 7 followers, dude. Yeah, that was good. I noticed when I stopped doing my TikTok lives, like, I haven't done a TikTok live since December. I only did, like, debates, just debated people on their TikTok lives. I lost followers. I never gained any. I think I was like a net, like, loss of 10 followers. I maybe gained like 2 and lost 12. Yeah. People deny metaphysical truths. That's different. One type of person I will never ever debate is anyone who, like, doesn't believe in formalized logic or, like, fallacies or anything like that. I refuse to debate them. That's just a debate that's not even worth it. No, I don't have a Discord server. I was thinking, like, maybe when I hit 500 or 1,000 subs, I'll make a Discord server. But yeah, people who deny fallacies and formalized logic and that orderly structure for conversation and arguments, etc., like, it's not even worth talking to them. You can't even, like, prove it to them, because anytime you make a claim or something, they're not going to follow the organized structure. They don't have to justify their claims or anything like that. So, like, it's just so annoying. It's not worth it. The nail in the coffin for me on that was a Mormon. I was debating a Mormon, and he said something about, like, how Revelations proved Mormonism, and I asked him to justify that claim, and then he said no. And I was like, well, then that's just a bare assertion fallacy. And he's like, formalized logic and fallacies are of the Pharisees. And he just kept saying that. I'm like, dude. He's like, did Jesus teach formalized logic? I'm like, did Jesus teach you to drink water? Where did Jesus tell you to drink water? Like, it is so silly, dude. All right. Am I unmuted? All right. Bet. Let's see. All right, let's finish this video.
To lie, correct?
How we... I swear these ads are going to be the end of me.
Introducing.
It's kind of a logical fallacy, because you're equating.
Can you name it?
You're taking the divinity away from Jesus.
I didn't take the divinity away.
How is that? What logical fallacy, dude? Who's making
an historian by making Jesus 2 persons? I am being a Chalcedonian and making Jesus 1 person. So the one person.
I'm not making him 2 people.
Good. So good. So let's make him 1 person then.
He is 1 person.
So the 1 person Jesus, could he have lied?
No.
So he didn't have the potential to lie. He wasn't a human.
He was human, fully human.
Okay, to be fully human is to have potential to lie.
Not necessarily, no. Every human lies.
Okay, so numbers. No, I didn't say every human lies. I said every human has potential to lie. They could lie. They could choose to lie, choose not to lie, but they could lie.
There's room to not lie, right?
Right. But for God, there is no question of potentiality and actuality. God just can't lie.
Okay. What just happened? Why did the screen go over there, dude? wild. A couple things. To close us out, it's a song based on Tag. Oh, you got a song based on Tag? Bet. I'll play it. What's the best way to go about addressing this? I would say, like, we affirm that a human nature, like, really means, like, having the capacities to reason, have emotions, a rational soul, free will, right? But it wouldn't mean that humans must exercise all capacity, including, like, the capacity to sin. Like, the best way to go about it would be to say that sin is not an essential, like, aspect of the human nature. It's just a corruption of it. Yeah, I would say that. Where's the thing? There is a Libiano fearless debate. Yeah. I think he's just presupposing that aspect of the human nature is the potential to lie.
It's not that he could and he chooses not to.
That's an
it's
aspect
that he can't.
of sin and corruption, not an aspect of the human nature.
Possible. That's what Hebrews says.
Likewise, Jesus can't lie because he shares.
He's not a human, because a human nature necessitates being able to lie. So was he fully?
Libiano is like the goat at trying to hide like a logical fallacy or a presupposition in his argument. I swear I've never heard like an actual argument come from him that wasn't just like a disguised straw man or logical fallacy. Like every single one of his arguments. I mean, you even see him with like his debate on God logic. He made God logic look like a fool by basically just being unnecessary confusing until God logic like accidentally said something false, and then he clowns him on that. Like he doesn't actually have arguments.
100%.
So he could lie.
He could not lie.
Okay, so he wasn't fully man. He was not a man.
He can't lie because he shares the will of the Father.
I didn't ask that. I said in virtue, qua humanity, could he lie?
No, he could not. But see,
so
you're
wasn't,
like
so he wasn't
the answer I'm giving.
So Jesus
the answer
was
I'm
not,
giving, you don't
so
like
Jesus
it. So
was
you're
not,
just denying
it's not
it.
that I don't like it. It's that it's not sufficient and it doesn't answer the question. Okay.
Dude, you could even use this logic against him. If a baby like dies in childbirth, that baby was a human. For it to be human, like, did it lie? Like, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't follow. Because you started talking about potential. But, I mean, ultimately just presupposing that an aspect of the human nature is the potential lie. Which that's an aspect that...
Numbers, it's not. Because Numbers 23 says, I am God and not a man. I am not a man because men lie. Why? Men have the nature to lie. So if Jesus has the human nature, Jesus can lie.
He might, like, if you use my rebuttal, he might say that to you as a response. Just saying, like, the verse didn't say the human nature has an aspect of lie. It's saying that's men lie. That's something men do. It's not an aspect of human nature. That would be an aspect of them being corrupted in sin.
If he can lie,
human,
he can't.
It doesn't
I didn't
take
say
his divinity away, though.
Yes, it does. Absolutely,
no,
it
doesn't.
Of course, it does.
If he's fully man and fully God,
okay.
he's
watch
fully
this.
divine with human characteristics.
Watch how I'm gonna ask you one question.
It's basically like let's do this. Let's go back to the whiteboard. Create a new board. This website takes forever to load every single time. We'll wait patiently. Let's say you have this. Okay. You have a plant, right? This is a plant. And then you put the plant, it has like a plant nature, whatever. Then you put this like red paint on it. This red paint goes all over the plant. Does the plant's actual nature change? No. but it has this red paint on it, right? This would be the same thing as, this is our human nature, right? This red, this is sin. Our human nature, it doesn't include like this sin, all the sinful stuff. The sinful stuff's painted on top of that, right? It's not actually changing the human nature. It's just something that is corrupting it. The same way that the plant will get corrupted and die from the red paint because it's poisonous to a plant. The human nature gets corrupted because the sin like invades the person that possesses this nature. It doesn't actually invade the nature itself, right? It invades the person who possesses the nature. It doesn't invade the nature itself. The same way how with this, it invades the plant, but not the plant's nature. Slow boy whiteboards. All right, buddy. Hey, I came back. I respect Sister Lily J. She is our sister in faith, but Christians are right using ChatGPT to prove anything is not correct. I agree. ChatGPT is wild, and she manipulates ChatGPT.
Gonna make you doubt your religion for the next month. Are you ready?
No, not gonna happen.
Okay, watch this. Is it a contradiction to say there's one shape, it's fully circle and fully square?
Oh my gosh, dude. Oh no. We're really using the square circle argument? Come on.
Yeah, that's a fallacy.
What's the fallacy called?
You're putting a square into a circle.
I didn't put a square. No, I didn't mix the nature.
And I thought you couldn't say something dumber than the square circle argument. Bro just said it's a fallacy to put a square in a circle. What? Dude, this is not real. This has to be set up. There's no way. Boogie, when are you going to debate Orthodox Muslim? I don't know. Where does he even debate? Does he debate on TikTok?
Shape.
I would debate him. Do I get topic? If I get topic, he's going to get buried.
One fully circle nature and one fully square nature. The natures don't mix, but it's still one shape. What's the contradiction?
It's a false equation because
it's a false equation. I didn't give you an equation. What's the difference between Jesus being one person, fully man, but also fully God, two natures, and a shape being a fully circle and fully square? But
watch this. This is what you got to do. You got to go to youtube.com. You got to go to Buggy Buggerson. You got to click on this. You got to click on this square. And you got to watch this. This is the strat. This is how you win right here.
Hello guys, welcome back to another
This guy's a clown.
square circle seconds. So
look at that.
The argument to union's natures mix. That's human doesn't mix into the divine nature.
Oh my gosh. Cooked. He's just mixing, he's just becoming a monophysite.
One shape. What's the difference? You see, you're laughing because now you're doubting your religion. Now you
bro, like he doesn't even know the definition of like the law of non-contradiction.
I'm not doubting. There's no sufficient answer for you.
Oh, okay. Can you answer?
Because even let's say even if I had a correct answer per se, you're still gonna reject it.
There is no correct answer because a shape that has a square nature and a circle nature is impossible. You want to know why? Because the predicates that satisfy circularity are in complete contradiction and opposition to the predicates that satisfy being a square. Likewise, the predicates that satisfy humanity are in complete contradiction and opposition to the predicates that satisfy divinity.
I would tell him to use his predicates to predicate his mind into reading the definition of law of non-contradiction to see what a contradiction is. A contradiction is when a preposition is both true and false at the same time and in the same respect. The square and the circle, the square has a square nature and that's attributes in respect to the square, The circle has its attributes and its nature in respect to the circle. So it's not a contradiction because they're in different respects. The same way Christ, the hypostatic union, isn't a contradiction because one's in respect to the divine nature, the other's in respect to the human nature.
They're predicated to the same one subject, that is Jesus. If you had two persons, a human Jesus and a divine Jesus, you get out of the problem. But because you have one subject of predication, you're saying the one subject...
This problem is only a problem if you're like a monophysite. If you're a monophysite, run this argument against them. If you're debating a monophysite, run this argument against them, because then it actually works. Because they're literally mixing the two natures into one like mega nature. Then it works because they're in the same respect.
Is fully mutable and fully immutable. The one subject can both be fully mutable and fully immutable, fully knowing and fully not knowing.
There are so... Wait, why'd your message get retracted? What the heck? Why can't I scroll down? Okay, hold up. What? Telugu, I don't know why your message just got retracted. Hold up, look. Oh, it's just gone. Oh, this one, wait, hold up. This one's way behind. Hold up. You were saying, like, or were you asking, do I believe there is, like an apologist that's good? A Muslim apologist that's good? Oh. According to you, who is at least one good Muslim? You know, there's some, like, I don't know their names, but there's all the best apologists are like sitting on Discord servers. And they do nothing except just homeschool and Discord grind debates all day. Those are where all the good Muslim apologists are. So I would say like none of the mainstream ones are good. Libyano's garbage. Sheikh Uthman is even worse. I think Islamic Apex, I don't really listen to him debate, so I don't know. But like, all the good apologists are like sitting on Discord servers.
Fully God and fully man. Or fully God and fully not God. Not because being a man is to be not God. So, can you say that Jesus is fully God and fully not God?
No, you can't say that.
Is being a man not God?
For us, yeah.
Okay, so Jesus is fully God, his divine nature, and fully not God, his human nature.
I've been trying to configure this field for an hour, but this CRM sucks. Maybe it's time to stand up to these...
Get out of here, man.
It's not really making sense because Jesus is the life giver. He gives eternal life. We know that in scripture, right? So 23:19.
Okay.
I mean, you said God is not a man, which technically is, I guess, correct by how you quoted it. But
this. YouTube just hijacked me. I don't know where I was in the stream. Hold up. Yeah, I have no idea where I was in the stream. You know who's a really bad argument? Muslim debater? Saifeddin. Saifeddin's garbage. I can't with that guy. Oh, wait, there was one more. Hold up. Nah. Maybe, who's this famous TikToker? Do you all know who this is? Who is this? I don't know this guy.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. We're walking today together.
Wait, who? Do you know who this guy is? Because I might do like a review on this, depending on who it is. It's a long video, so it'd be better for like a dedicated live to it. Let's see what else. Ooh, scared to worship. Admits she worships 3 gods. Did we watch this one already?
Predicates, sir.
Yeah.
Natures are predicates. What do you mean?
Telling you. All right. Yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna end the live here, y'all. I appreciate y'all for coming on. I don't know why the viewer counter is cooked here. It's not even accurate to what the actual count is, but I appreciate y'all for all coming on and tuning into the live stream. We'll be back Monday. Maybe I might be back Saturday. Probably not, knowing me. But we'll be back another live Monday. We'll do TikTok debates. I'll run my own live. We'll have a bunch of fun. We'll get a react done too. I low-key cooked with the thumbnail for this video. My conspiracy theory. I should have been doing that. The hand symbol that they do. I heard it like makes you smarter or something. Should have been doing that. I think I would have like cooked a lot more. But yeah, I just kind of zoned out there. I don't know what that was about. After talking with you, I agree miracles are not the proof for God, but still, does Bible has any scientific? I don't know off the top of my head, Telugu. I don't base my faith off like scientific miracles. But yeah, appreciate y'all for all tuning in. We'll be back Monday for sure. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But God bless. And make sure tomorrow, Saturday night, there are you have your Vespers, great Vespers. Sunday you'll have church. You better be going to both. I expect you guys to be going to both. Can't be missing those. And appreciate it. God bless all y'all. See ya.